Last words matter. A person's last words carry weight. The words, "it is finished," for example, have forever changed the world, reminding us of the power of Christ's death on the cross. Stephen's last words in the book of Acts, as he's being pummeled by boulders to death, leave us speechless, seeing the power of Christ's resurrection resounding through Stephen's forgiveness of his murderers. Last words can serve as defining markers. A message by which we remember the speaker, but also a message that allows the hearers to understand how we should see our very selves. And in our chapters for today, 48 and 49, we get the last words of Jacob, the son of Isaac, the son of Abraham. And what he says leaves a profound mark on his sons and upon us hearers. Jacob's last words can be divided into two testaments. A testament is the authoritative words of a relatively significant figure, hence why we call it a person's will, their last will and testament. Jacob's two testaments center around his children. The first testament focuses on his grandchildren, Manasseh and Ephraim. What you will notice is that Jacob essentially adopts his grandchildren to be his own. Manasseh and Ephraim are the first two children of Joseph. These two boys go on to be two tribes of the people of Israel, displaying once again Jacob's favor towards one of his younger sons. The second testament that Jacob gives in his final breath are directed towards the rest of his sons. He addresses Reuben and Simeon and Judah and Asher and Joseph and on and on. What Jacob gives is a series of blessings and curses that will have future ramifications for the tribes that derive their lineage from the 12 sons of Jacob. But if we pay close attention, we notice certain themes coming back up again. The last being first, sight and blindness, multiplication of the family, and more. But there is something else that ties these two testaments together: how Jacob talks about God. Jacob will talk about the God of his father and grandfather, calling God different names. He'll refer to God as El Shaddai, the Almighty One, a name that has shown up at pivotal times in his and his ancestors' lives. He calls God the Rock and his Shepherd. What is paramount in Jacob's will and testament is that throughout his life, God has truly been with him. And what he prays for is that the God who has been with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob will continue to be with his family. That no matter what comes, whether in Egypt or in Canaan, whether free or enslaved, whether blessings or curses, God's people will persist because of God's presence. It is God's presence that are to mark God's people. You see, as new creations in Christ, our prayers should be about opening up our eyes to God's presence, his withness. This changes our relationship with God from being contractual, something that can be easily broken. It changes our relationship with God from being transactional, all about what we can provide to God and what God can provide to us. Instead, our relationship with God, very clearly established in Genesis, is covenantal. We walk with a God who desires to walk with us. In the same way that he walked in the Garden of Eden, even upon the sin of Adam and Eve, he walks with us through thick and thin. May God's presence be our defining marker. A practice that I think helps remind us of this is remembering how God's presence has changed our lives. Maybe this is through remembering your baptism, or remembering the day you noticed God's presence for the very first time. Or maybe it is remembering your last encounter with God. In remembering these moments, our eyes go from blind to sight, recognizing that we can encounter the Lord this very day, not contractual or transactional, but covenantal. May God's presence be our defining factor, for his presence truly changes everything.